Yeah, sure. I would say, women, get on in. Get into the cybersecurity field. All the women right there. As a lady, as a woman, it's not an easy thing to be in IT itself. I never got that thought in my mind that there is some roles designated for men and there are some roles designated for women. Probably five, six people in my team, out of which I'm the only woman. So I'm the
Welcome to Cyberpoint, Anita. I'm so happy to have you here. It's been a while.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been a while. We've been trying to have this session, and I remember the first time we met. You reached out to me on LinkedIn, and you saw that I have done the F5 certification, and you're about to do it,
Yes.
and you just reached out that Wale, I saw your post on the F5 group, and you inspired me. I want to do the F5 certification. Can you just give me some nuggets how you did it? And I just shared some of those nuggets with you how I did. I passed the F5 certification and all that. And ever since then, been keeping tabs and all that, which is quite amazing. And
Yeah.
I've seen over the years how you've grown. You've moved from one positions to bigger positions, from one companies to another, most especially the big companies. And I felt I should reach out to you that you're really doing amazing, and I really want people to hear how you've done, you've moved from one position to another, and how you go in the industry. And also being a lady is quite amazing. It's quite amazing.
Absolutely.
I just want to hear from you, being a lady in cybersecurity, and how people like you, ladies like you, can also, you know, enter the field and also have their full ground role. And that's just the essence of this. Welcome once again, Anita. And before we, proceed, I would just
You.
like that you introduce yourself to the community, and let's meet you.
Yeah. Yeah, sure, Boale. And Boale, thank you so much for reaching out to me regarding this podcast. I really, really appreciate it. And I know we have been trying to get this like this video out or the podcast from almost like few months now, and now we got it. So we are there now, and I'm really glad and really glad to see you face to face. I know you are in a different country, and I'm in United States, so but with all this media and everything, it's never far. So here we are, and I'm really glad. And regarding myself, yes, thanks for that great introduction. I'm Anitha Mareedu, and I work as a cybersecurity consultant now. And it's been quite few years. And as you said, as a lady, as a woman, it's not an easy thing to be in IT itself. But being a cybersecurity professional is a little more challenging. But I think I absolutely love the work that I do, mainly in the field of cybersecurity. Probably, I think that is the reason which made me stand out in the crowd.
Wow.
Yeah.
So can you tell us more about your background, how you started? What sparked your initial interest in cybersecurity? Was there a specific event or or experience that ignited that passion for this field?
Sure. Yeah, definitely. So, to be honest, I came from India to United States like 10 years ago, or maybe 10, 11 years ago, to do my master's. And my background is actually not in computer science or in information security, but my background, as in like my bachelor's in India, is from electrical and electronics engineering. And yeah, and I came to United States to do my master's in electrical engineering because I really have very good passion towards electrical engineering. I love distribution, generation, transmission kind of a role. Um, but once I was doing my master's, to be honest, my sister, who's already in United States, she's the one who inspired me in the field of networking and security. That is when, while I was doing my master's in electrical engineering, that's when I pivoted a little bit and I took couple of courses in networking and security. And Cisco is such a well known, reputed company in the area of security or networking. So, what I did is yeah, Cisco, I just took a couple of certifications. I was preparing for it during my master's. And after my master's, I took, like, all of the CCNA, CCNP certifications. So I took those certifications. And while I was reading about it or while I was studying through it, it's kind of fascinating. I mean, until then, I don't know how internet works.
Wow.
Even though I use laptop every day, right? I don't
What
know how
year was
internet
this?
works. I don't know.
What year was this?
This was back in 20, yeah, this was back in 2014, 2015, during that period,
Wow.
almost a decade ago.
Wow.
Almost a decade ago. That's when I finished my master's. That's when I finished my master's. And I did my master's from Texas A&M University, which is in Kingsville. And I have my friends as well with me who were everyone started taking all of the Cisco certifications. And that's when I was like, okay, let me also do and let me see where my real interest lies in. And that's when I got into the field. And my first role is in networking as a network engineer. But then I did my certifications in security. Like, for example, I did certifications in Checkpoint, in Palo Alto, and so on. And it felt like, quite little more interesting compared to networking, the cybersecurity to me. And that's when I started working as a cybersecurity engineer.
Wow, that's amazing. So you started from being a network engineer without even having any knowledge at all, or because you had to do your masters in the USA. Wow, that's quite interesting.
Yes, I did
And
master's in electrical engineering, and then yeah, I know it's crazy, right? But I always had this thing like I know the word of cybersecurity was like started booming back then a decade ago. Maybe it's been there, but it just got into my ear only until I started hearing it in 2015. So I was like, okay, cybersecurity. The word seems fascinating. What is it? So I went through it. I became so nerd. I used to read every single day. I used to go to work morning 8 to 5, and then I used to come home, and then I just the books in front of me all the time, and I just open and read all the resources that's available out there. It can be in YouTube, it can be the certifications that I took. Certifications helped me a little bit, I would say, because while you're reading or preparing for the certifications, you get to acquire the knowledge that you don't know in the areas. So that helped me for sure. And also that helps in your work experience as well, because when you are taking the certification, when you get that knowledge, you can actually put that in your work. So that helped me a little bit as well. And I would say just the interest, because I was always interested in cybersecurity compared to networking. For some reason, the word fascinated me, the work, and how we can actually defend the attackers. That's
wow,
just so fascinating.
wow, that was amazing. But can you share with us some of the challenges you faced and how you overcame them as a woman, most especially as a woman?
Absolutely. Believe it or not, until today, whatever the firms I worked, I might have worked at least in the last decade, at least to 5 to 6 different firms that I have worked with. And each and every firm has at least probably 5, 6 people in my team, out of which I'm the only woman. So I'm the only woman in the team, the whole team, in every different company. So that says it all. I mean, there is that ratio of, like, 10:1 or 10:2, the max, in the field of cybersecurity. And that is the reason I even wanted to like inspire the people, like mainly the women, to get into the field of cybersecurity, because I feel that we as a woman do think on different perspectives of um, defending. in the cybersecurity space. I mean, it's not just kind of like a differentiation between men and women, but I think like we women can do better in these fields of networking and security. And every company that I go to, there's one question always they ask me: how did you come into this field? You're a woman. You should not be in the networking or security. Really, I just got um, at least like four different companies. They were telling me like, how did you end up being here as a woman? You should be in a QA or you should be a software developer. I mean, that's a question like which I don't understand. Like, why is it just something men can do? So I mean, yeah, I do not and now I work as a consultant. So I work with different companies, and I am the security lead for one of the consulting, like the one of the clients that I work with, and they do not have any security engineer. I'm the only security engineer there. Everyone else, the men in the field, are all in the IT. Yeah, they are like help desk. I'm the only security engineer there, so I lead them what to do and what not to do. That's amazing. And I write all these documentation. I make the presentations. I'm the one to talk with the clients. I'm the one to talk in the webinars. I'm the one who prepares everything, and I'm the one who actually talks with our partners to curate the best practices for the company. So I just feel like it's amazing, to be in a field, and I until someone asked me, "You're a woman, why you are in this field?" I never got that thought in my mind that there is some roles designated for men and there are some roles designated for women. But that's pretty amazing. Like, I would say these are the main challenges that I have faced while I was growing in my career. Of course, there's a lot more to grow. But until now, I would say uh, I took every role that came in my way as a challenge. And I never wanted to settle for less. I never wanted to uh, okay, this is enough. I learned a lot kind of a mentality. I always wanted to learn something new all the time. And with cybersecurity, um there are so many technologies, there are so many tools that evolve every year. So it's not easy to cope up, but I really love to take challenging roles and be an inspiration to my friends or the people that I know. Yeah, things like that.
Wow, wow, that's amazing. Most challenges more I see most ladies or most women faces that they think it's too technical, cybersecurity, or most especially the network security field that you're in. They feel it's too technical and they want maybe less technical roles and all that. But I really want to applaud you for your doggedness and for the doggedness and your curiosity and to be able to move forward and own that space. It's a lot, and I really appreciate your effort and that. But one thing I'm curious about it. One thing I'm curious about is when you started off, what gave you? When did you begin to have that confidence in yourself? What project did you work on, or what incident happened that significantly impacted your career? That's now started giving you that confidence that yes, I'm a network security engineer, or I'm a professional in this field.
Um, no, that's a great question, Bhuwali. So to be honest, from my childhood, I've been so nerdy. I'm so studious. We are three sisters in my family, all girls, no boys. And it's just my dad and my mom. So it's kind of like, I would say, uh, 95 percentage of what I am today is because of my parents. My mom is a strong woman. I have no idea that she is so strong that she raised us, and she has that. She loves us studying. She loves um, being like. She always saw us. Me and my dad and my mom always saw us in in a great position, and that's one of the reasons I would say it came all the way from my parents. The first thing, and and I was a studious. I was always topping my class back in the school, bachelor's, even in my master's. Then I came to United States. I was topping my class throughout, and it's not something that I wanted to like show off or anything. It's just I just love studying. I just love to know something new that I don't know. I'm always something. I have always been a person where would love to teach someone something that they don't know, or in order to teach them, I need to know first, right? So that also made me a little enthusiastic, or in terms of what's next kind of a thing. And the transition, when you talk about the confidence, I would say it all came from my parents, my mom especially. All the confidence came from her, all the brave thing came from her. Even now, she says anything is possible. That makes me, even though when I'm sometimes down, when I sometimes feel like, okay, I think this is enough. And she is the one who is my backbone. She's the one who pulls me through, like, you can do it. You can do anything. And my sisters. So they're always there. The family, I would say, is the strong bond. And the second thing is that I was saying, I think it's the curiosity, willing to learn, and always have the mindset of, I, I should be in a great position. I just don't want to be just sitting there doing anything like any other person can do. I just wanted to be special. I just wanted to be like recognized. I just wanted to be have my own voice in the field of where I'm working. So I think that should be it, I guess.
Wow, wow, wow. I'm curious. What was your first project that you ever did, or that you worked on in cybersecurity that gave you the assurance that you can do more?
Yes, sure. So initially, when I did the transition from being a network engineer to network security or cybersecurity engineer, I first did the projects in migrations, doing the migration projects or upgrade projects that I have no idea. And I was doing the projects for almost 300 clients over the span of like 3 years. So it's huge. It's huge. And I am being the primary security engineer. I have to plan everything, right? I have to work very closely with different stakeholders, like networking team, the server team, the account teams, the client teams, and so on. So that was my first challenge. I got introduced to the field of cybersecurity, and to be honest, I just jumped into it. I only know a little bit of cybersecurity. I did certifications, like a couple of them, but I don't have a real hands on experience until then. But I took it as a challenge. I wanted to see, why can't I do it, right? Let me learn, let me do it, let me plan it. So I planned it, I deployed the new firewalls. I was doing the migrations from one vendor to another vendor, like from checkpoints to Palo Alto. This was a decade ago. And that's when Palo Alto firewalls are emerging. That's like the initial, almost the initial stage of Palo Alto firewalls. That is when I took it as a challenge, and why Palo Alto firewalls is how it is different compared to the legacy firewalls, which is checkpoint, and why is everyone trying to move. So what is the essence of it? So I first understand about the product. I first try to get into my head, okay, am I doing something sensible, right? So, and then I prepare the plan. I talk with different stakeholders. We have different meetings with them, and then doing the transition from the migration from checkpoints to Palo Altos is not a 1 day thing. That was one of the toughest projects that I have done, because it was almost for over a period of like 3 years, and for three different like 300 clients, and each client have one of the clients has like 50 different servers. Some clients have like 20 servers, so it really depends, like application database or development servers and so on, right? So it's kind of every server is in different zones and areas, and those DMZ zones or internal or wherever, right? So we need to plan for that and do the migration. So it's kind of tough. The other thing is that because of the SLA, there is a service level agreement as well. So we should not have any downtime. So that's one other thing. Yeah, it's quite challenging as my first project.
Wow, wow, that's amazing. I know after the project, your confidence level would even rise. I say, yeah, bring it on, you can do more, right?
Yes, yes, but absolutely right. Until then, I have like no idea like whether I'll be able to pull those projects off, but eventually I did. So yeah.
Amazing. So I want to know, what do you believe are the most critical skills and qualities for aspiring cybersecurity professionals to develop, yet in terms of skills and qualities that someone should own that wants to, move into cybersecurity?
That's a great question, Bawali. Um, I would say the first thing is like the first and foremost thing is like the interest, right? So, are they really interested? So, the interest really matters because if you're interested in doing something, I would say you'll achieve and you'll be like the top performer if you're really interested in your field of what you're doing. So I would say that's the primary thing that you need to check on. And if you're really interested and if you really wanted to be in this position of like getting into cybersecurity, I would advise like get out there, like try to reach the contacts are important, of course, but we should do our own research as well because getting into cybersecurity is there are a lot of different fields. For me, it took so long because I was a network security engineer until like I have worked for almost 7 to 8 years in the field of network security, as in like mainly in the firewalls, mainly in the area of like routers and switches. But being a cybersecurity, like working on different tools, like it can be on EDR, endpoint response detection, working on the IDPS, like intrusion detection and prevention, inline products too. I mean, there are different layers of security. We talk about it, like right, like uh, defense in depth, right? So when we say defense in depth, it's about how many layers of security.
Layers of the security
Exactly,
in series.
exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. And now, if you see about it from the last 5 years or so, it has drastically changed to zero trust, ZTNE. If you have heard about it, is zero trust network architecture. So basically, yeah, yeah, everyone is moving towards it. And the reason is that they wanted to do more layers. They wanted to defense in depth. Is like they wanted to do it even more layers. So before it used to be like a networking, right? Like a firewalls. Firewalls is like the primary, like Palo Alto firewalls. And then get into a little bit further, which is like intrusion detection and prevention, those layers. And then a little bit further, like endpoint protection, like antivirus for all these malicious or malware detections and so on. And there used to be a SIM tool where you have like Splunk or now you name it. There are so many SIM tools now that they can ingest all your logs and analyze it and send it back, right? But now, as a zero trust, if you talk about tools like Zscaler or it can be on CrowdStrike, Sentinel One, these are all different tools, and IAM has become so important where you wanted to minimize, like, it's called least privilege or principle of least privilege. So you're only assigning uh, each person according to their role, like a role based. Is he only, should she or he be able to access one file in that particular department to that particular folder? So, granular control. You're giving granular control of access. But I know I just pivoted to a different area of talking. But to answer your question of being like, what is like, the path or probably yeah, I would say once you get interest, I would say get into it, get into like what interests you. Are you willing to work on the network security? Because there are different types of security again. So when you talk about security, it can be network security, it can be IAM side of it, like being identity access management roles, or it can be in the endpoint EDR, endpoint detection roles, or it can be in the areas of SIM or Splunk engineer, like the engineers in SIM industry. So there are different aspects of security. So you can basically nail down like, okay, what are different areas of security and which interests you again. Okay, I was working as a network security engineer. Yeah. And then I just go to the YouTube and I just see what it is, like how it works. If I want to understand about zero trust, I just go ahead and YouTube and then just check because we have lots of resources now. It wasn't like there like 2 decades ago. There isn't a lot of YouTube going on. There isn't a lot of podcasts going on. There isn't a lot of resources out there. But now you can go into their internet. You have internet. You can just go there and see how you can get into it. Um, I would also suggest if you are interested in one particular area of it, try to take the certifications. When I say trying to take certifications is not for the sake of getting the certification, but it's the process of preparing the content to get a certification. So in that process, you will learn a lot. You will understand each and every area of a particular product. So that helps you to again uh, maybe learn faster because you have a deadline. You need to get that certification. So, these are some areas. And one other thing that I would also recommend is um, go to these conferences. So here in the Bay Area in California, we have something called a meetup. I mean, we have a meetup groups. It's all over the world, I believe. But if you can get into some tools like meetups and all, there you can register for cybersecurity events, cybersecurity webinars or conferences, and you can go there and you can like try to understand. People talk about it. You at least grasp one or the other thing from each events that you attend, and that also increases your contact list. So you can get
Yeah,
in contact with big people like
networking.
maybe CISOs or yeah, that really helps. Yeah, that really
Yeah,
helps.
yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I love your motivation. I've heard a lot of people and a lot of newsletters saying there's a lot of if you want to make a lot of money, just go into
Oh yeah.
cybersecurity, and that's been a lot of motivating factors for a lot. But money shouldn't just be a motivation, but providing values. Being able to ensure that you know what you
Mhm.
know, are able to offer values to complain, protecting the assets and all that. Then by the time you start doing that, the money will show up. You start having huge roles and huge funds from a lot of companies and all that, which is quite interesting. And I
Exactly,
want,
exactly.
yeah, one of the two last questions I would like to ask you is that if you are to start out again, like you want to start out again into diving into cybersecurity, based on what you've known now from your experience, how would you start out now that you have a lot of experiences and all that, and just feel like you want to have a refresh and want to start out? How would you start out, in transitioning to cybersecurity from many field if you had to start again?
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's a great question. That's a great question. The reason is that it is completely different like a decade ago. When I started my career, it's different. I have very few resources. I have very few connections. I have very few like people who can help me to get into the field. Now, if I have to start it now as like a complete transition from a different field to cybersecurity, I would say like I have a lot of resources now. I have YouTube has lots of content, right? And there are so many different websites out there. Like You can talk about like lead code, or you can talk, I mean, when you're talking about like any kind of programming that you wanted to achieve, probably for software as a cybersecurity engineer, or you have lots of different resources out there. And look at there, now you have Chat GPT, you have like DeepSeek, GPT, and all of these things. So I would take advantage of all of these different different resources out there. And back then, believe it or not, I do not have anything of it. I had to do a lot of research to get one single answer for one question. I would spend 1 hour. Now I just have to spend 1 minute. So I get everything is in one platform, like Perplexity, like all of these different AI technologies. And I believe getting like we know right now, AI is going crazy, and I would also pivot to cybersecurity in AI and ML. So that's something that I wanted to learn now, because everywhere it's now AI. So I would definitely love to
Wow, wow, that's interesting, and that's very interesting. There's a lot of resources now than 10 years ago, so it's easier now because a lot of information, a lot of free platforms, giving out badges and free resources for cybersecurity. One thing I would like to ask is, in the USA, what role does certification play? You know, is getting the certification in cybersecurity enough to land you a job in USA? And how can someone process like a remote job?
that question is quite tricky, because because I was talking with my sister the other day, and we were just discussing, we have so many different certifications, no one even asked about it. Why are we even writing those certifications? You know what I mean? So to answer your question, Bawali, I think certification played a major role maybe 5 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago. It's one of that aspect to get like land a job. Now, at least in Bay Area, I do not know, I cannot speak for the whole United States, but for California, the Bay Area that I'm seeing, uh, I apply for a job, they interview me, they ask few questions. There are like 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 rounds. Any company, 10 rounds of interview, and then they see how I am answering or how much knowledge I have on that particular field. So no one in Bay Area has asked me, "Do you have this certification?"
Wow.
No one. No one have asked me. Yeah. In fact, I was telling them, "Oh, I did this certification. I have this certification." They're like, "Okay, fine." That's it. They're like, "Okay, that's good. That's great." And they never ask me, "Can you show me your certification?" No, never. But it is important because I'm on my H-1B visa, so I'm on a visa status. I'm not a green card holder yet because I'm an Indian. It takes decades to get a green card. Um, so because of my H-1B visa, it might be helpful to showcase to the USCIS that I have these many certifications and this much experience. So I am extraordinary candidate to stay in United States. But other than that, I would say do the certification to gain the knowledge. And I have stopped for a while now taking certifications, just the factor that it just I feel so anxious. I feel so nervous. It's just anxiety, lots of stress. I just feel like why and one other thing is that I just feel like, okay, certifications are good. They used to ask like in back in 2020, like 5 years ago, oh, AWS just released new certification, AWS Solutions Architect, right? Associate or Security Associate Architect. Who is now carrying those certifications? No one. In fact, all the companies are moving from AWS to Azure now, at least in the United States. And no one asks you, like, you need that certification and so on. But I would say it's good to have certification to gain the knowledge and maybe to prove to the company that you're working on that you're capable of something. But otherwise, to land a job itself is good to just show, but no one really asks for it. Like, show me your certification kind of a thing. I don't think so. And with Tesla, with Elon Musk, it's kind of, he doesn't even care you graduated. He's like okay with being high school. You're a high school. Okay, can you do this? Do you have experience? Just come on in. That's it. He doesn't forget about certification. He doesn't even care if you are a graduate. So he's changing kind of like, some of the technology. So I think it shouldn't be like that, I would say. I mean, graduation is important. Taking masters is important if you're interested, but a minimal education is really important. It's not just for the sake of getting a certification, but it's an experience to get to know how different fields of study work, how different people from different cultures are. So it's for overall personality improvement, I would say. Getting a graduation and a master's degree is important.
Wow, wow, that's impressive. That's
How
impressive.
to behave, right?
That's
Yeah.
that's certifications matters, but you just need to know what you know. Just not it's not just about
Exactly.
certifications or writing them. You have to, own the knowledge and also have practical skills that
Yeah.
can, get you and also
True.
sustain you. That's very important. One more thing I would like to ask in USA, the entry level role in cybersecurity, what's like the salary range? If someone is trying to, get a job and all that. We have entry level, I know you're a senior security engineer and you're once you're once in the entry level um role before. So what would you say was the
Um,
range?
I mean, uh, the range, I think the range really depends on in which state you are in, because
Okay.
Bawali, the California has more taxes. So they have like 35 to 40 percentage of taxes. Whereas in Texas, it's a taxless state, right? So there is no state tax in Texas. Even when you go to the east side, the tax percentage is way less compared to the California. So it really depends on which state you are in and where you are getting the job. So I mean, the entry level, if you're talking on an average, I would say anywhere between um 70 to 90K maybe. Like a new grad in California, they get 70 to 90K US dollars. Um in Texas, it used to be 60K, but I think probably it might have went up to 75 or 80K now, probably for the entry level. But it really depends on each company again. The place, it depends on the experience that you have. It depends on the it depends on your negotiation skills. One other important thing. So they might say, "Oh, we can only give you 100K," but who knows? If you can negotiate good, you can go up to 120. So and it really depends on the company. If you are getting into Google, you might get the entry level in Google is almost around 150K. Whereas in other companies, you're a senior and you get 150K. So it really depends on what company you are in. It really depends on which state you are in. It depends on your negotiation skills. It depends on a lot of factors.
Thank you for that info. So there's a lot of juicy opportunity in cybersecurity. So I implore you, if you are starting out,
Yeah.
start very strong. start strong, not just writing certification, but knowing, having an in-depth understanding of what you want to do, and also going straight for what you actually want to pursue in cybersecurity. And one last thing before we go, I would just like that you give an advice to people that are trying to, dive into cybersecurity as newbies. What would be your advice to them? And we'll round up after this. Um, thank you.
Yeah, sure. I would say, uh, women, get on in. Get into the cybersecurity field. All the women right there. All the women out there. And don't just be scared by the word cybersecurity. Wow. It's fancy, it's big. Maybe I do not know anything about it. No, it's not that big. It's not that crazy. It's not that difficult. We can do it. I mean, even to the men out there. I mean, the security, cybersecurity, it's fascinating. It's interesting. Just put few hours in a day. Try to understand what it is about. What are the basics? Try to learn the basics. Once you know the basics, even if you have 10 different vendors, 10 different tools, the work is the same because you know the basics. You know how to do it. For example, if it is firewalls, right? I know how to write a rule in a firewall. I know how to block it. I know how to deny or allow it because it's the same source, same destination IP, same TCP/IP protocol, same allow deny kind of a thing. It's just that it's different platforms when you're talking about different tools. And once you know the basics, um, you can you can just nail it. Even you're getting new companies or new vendors or new tools, it's easy. So try to learn the basics. And if you're interested, just dive into it and don't just wait. And it's not a big deal. It's easy if you really are interested in it. So that's my advice.
I said thank you so much. Yeah, I said thank you so much for your time. It's quite fruitful having this discussion with you, and I am so sure that a lot of people have found this useful for them. And if you're quite interested in cybersecurity, there's a lot of resources uh, that are online, and I've also been able to gather some resources together, video, which is also part of my videos I've done in the past. It's also you can also check it. Oh, thank you, Anita. I'm so happy that we were able to do this, and maybe next time we'll have better conversations to talk about. So we've come to the end of podcast, and it's quite interesting.
Free audio post production by alphonic.com.